Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host, Griever, here, as always, bringing you guys the latest chapter review for Akatsuki no Yona, also known as Yona of the Dawn. Yona of the Dawn, chapter 206. Let's get underway with this because I'm stoked. Our boy Hawk is out. I'm just sort of pumped up for that, because the other parts of the chapters of this chapter was good. They were good, but I have a couple of I understand that we're sort of transitioning right now, right? We're sort of it's hard to tell. Is this a new arc? The end of another arc? In between arcs? I have no idea. It's sort of hard to tell where this is going, because right now we just got introduced to, at the end of the last chapter, we got introduced to one of the generals of South Kai. Now we're getting introduced to a couple more characters. We're getting introduced to that emperor wannabe guy of South Kai or whatever. He even looks like a douchebag. He looks like a dick. He's got the tattoo. He's got the bald head. He just looks like he wants to be the biggest douchebag, right? And one fun fact, though, that is confirmed here, they're clearly terrified of this guy. He's the most influential person in all of South Kai. And we're sitting back here, we're like, all right, this dude clearly evil as fuck. But here's the crazy thing that came out of this. I don't really care about the rest of the conversation, to be honest. It's just him talking smack down to the delegates because they didn't, basically strong-arm soo-won and Yona. That's basically what happened. And they're talking, where's Mae Nien? And they're like, we thought she was back with you, but maybe, she's sort of headstrong. She was a general. She's reckless, blah, 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 blah. So, so they're backpedaling with this guy, right? The one interesting thing about it was when he's badgering the delegates, all about so you didn't make him prostrate himself. Where's this redheaded princess? Where's this? Where's that? It's are you telling me that the only successful thing is you got guys, you got rid of the nuisance that was Lan Tan? And I was like, well, we all knew as readers. Some people theorized that maybe soo-won and maybe Ki-sok had something to do with it, but it was basically blatantly obvious to almost all of us, definitely me, you guys know this, that South Kai did it. Now, I had a theory that it was North Kai that actually did it. I had that theory, but it seems like, no, it really was South Kai, because I thought we'd be playing some 4D chess level storytelling if it was actually North Kai trying to get South Kai and Koka Kingdom to both fight each other, weaken themselves, and then North Kai, the Empire, just freaking swoops in, takes over South Kai completely, and takes over Koka Kingdom in a fell swoop after both sides fought a war. That still could happen, but it would have been interesting had North Kai been involved in all that shit. And maybe this dude of South Kai is a traitor. Maybe he was promised hey, you give up all your territory for here, we'll give you a position up there, you'll be all good. We don't know yet. So my theory could still hold some level of water, but not much. It's the more simplistic route. That South Kai, the delegates, they poisoned him. They poisoned Lan Tan, and they tried to put the blame with bringing Lan Tan as one of the delegates. They tried to push it on Koka Kingdom. An excuse to go to war, pretty much. They wanted some justification for the populace, for the public, right? So, but it's basically confirmed here, not in so many words, but I take this as basically confirmation that was part of the plan. That's why Lan Tan was there. Okay, I'll accept that. So that was an interesting part of that scene. The next scene, though, that we jump over to is it introduces that General Val guy, who he looks pretty cool. He looks like he's a bit of a contender, but he looks like a pretty nonchalant. He reminds me a little bit of a combination of jae-ha and Hawk a little bit. I like his character design. I so far like his attitude and stuff. And then we get introduced to a more serious guy. Reminds me of Jo-do, who's also in this chapter. But he's got that more serious general look about him. He's got an eye patch. He looks like a badass. And General Hitien, something like that. Don't remember right off. But I'll probably remember him later because he's pretty badass looking. They discuss Mae Nien. They discuss about how her attitude is. And we just get a little more insight into her character necessarily. She wasn't intending on returning in the first place. She thought that, remember, she put all her eggs, appropriate given this is the Easter weekend, but she put all her eggs in the soo-won basket. that was a terrible idea, but that's what she did. So when she left, her intention was to say goodbye to people like Val and stuff like that and just peace. So, okay, fine, dandy. And they even say that she was never really meant, she's too much of a wild creature, that she was never meant to be a mistress like she is, but she was always much more suited as a general. So these two clearly fought alongside her as a general in some capacity, it seems, whether she was the general during their time as generals. Maybe she was a general even before maybe Val. I doubt Tian or whatever his name is, Tian, because he looks like he's an older gentleman and stuff like that. But we're getting some more insight into that, which is really cool. I like that. But as I said, it was pretty easy to like just page by page. Okay, nothing like, wow, we got to discuss this for 10 minutes on theory levels. This is more introducing, and that's why I said I find this odd if this is a transition into the next arc. Have we started the next arc? When did the last arc technically end? It feels like this sort of flowed into a new arc without that, that cutoff, that easy cutoff, because we're being introduced to, as I said, a bunch of new characters. We're getting insight into the evil Yona, if you will, Mae Nien. We're getting insight into evil Yona, and it's just like, okay, that's all fine and interesting, but it's like, this is the first time we're hearing about it. There's going to be not going to be any big wow moments for probably the next couple chapters, because we're focused on brand new characters. We don't know anything about them yet, and this is where we're learning about them. So not a bad chapter, but not exactly a wow, boom, bang, this happened, that happened, this happened, right? Though I did like the fact, so their idea is they're going to let Hawk out after all that stuff in South Kai. So South Kai, that's all happening there. Kisok says he's going to let Hawk out in the next scene. He said he's going to let Hawk out, and basically Hawk's like, why? And he's like, well, we want you. You're the Thunder Beast. You can do it. We want you. We're going to require your assistance. You have no right to complain because you're going to be a good boy because Yona asked us, blah, blah, blah. So we know you're going to do what we say. You are going to go. You're going to go capture that woman because she's already killed multiple guards and he doesn't want to sacrifice any more troops. Actually, from a military standpoint, it makes the most sense. You don't send a bunch of foot soldiers up against the elite guard. You send your elite guard against an elite guard, or you send a more elite guard against elite guards, or you separate your elite guard and then you take them down with numbers. There's strategy involved with this shit. And he's just basically like, she's already killed like a dozen foot soldiers and stuff. Like, if we don't know where she is, she keeps running loose right now. We don't know where she is. But you, first off, you're sacrificial, is what he's thinking. And second off, I really doubt she can best you. So we're going to use you. You're going to go capture her. And you're going to bring her back. He's like, yeah, okay, fine, Danny, whatever. Like, he questions it because Hawk already knows. Hawk knows the secret. And he goes, so she knows the secret too? Is that why I'm being let out? Does it have to do with the soo-won secret? And it's like, even if you don't tell me, I already know, Kisok. Why are you giving me the silent treatment here? And he basically says that to him. And Kisok's just like, nope, no time for that. So at the end of the day, Hawk is now officially allowed out temporarily. And remember, Yoon, who is later on in this chapter, in the next half of the chapter, Yoon does not know that Hawk was imprisoned in the first place. The dragons know it, and Yona knows it, but it only happened recently, so it's not exactly common knowledge that the Thunder Beast is in a cell, right? So, and then we jump over to the next half of the chapter, which, before I do my obligatory cut, because it is a 30-page chapter, I don't want to make sure I, miss anything sort of idea. But before we get to that, I do understand, if I forget to mention it, the parallels between Mae Nien. I called her evil Yona just for ease of use, but I don't think she's necessarily evil. But we're seeing the super parallels here. I sort of didn't like a scene that's coming up that I'll discuss involving the hair. I sort of didn't like it because it felt sort of forced, sort of to force a parallel between them. But after rereading the chapter a couple of times, I feel like it does work. It just sort of, when I first read it, I was like, really? Like, I knew where it was going automatically, with her description alone and stuff. And it's just sort of like, come on. But either way, I'm fine with it now. But that was a little sour part, I was a little salty about that moment because it's sort of like they're trying to force more and more parallels between Mae Nien and Yona. There's already parallels there, and now they're trying to sort of like really shove it down our throats that these two women are similar. They are the same. She has different circumstances, but they're the same. Like, it felt just a little forced to me to have that happen. But either way, we'll jump over to that in the next part. And we're back. So, what I wanted to talk about here, once again, was the fact that, so, Mae Nien, she escapes, right? She escapes, she wants to look for her little house. She wants to look for the little cute squirrel that looks like a reject Pikachu design. And she wants to go find him. And now we know that Hao is with the other, like with Aoi and the dragons and everybody else, right? So we know that. But she doesn't know that. Yoon doesn't know that. So because Yoon doesn't even know who this is. So he lets her, she sort of escapes. She's got her long hair. And that's when the guards are walking by like, yeah, this woman, she killed sentries and stuff. A beauty with long hair. And she holds the long hair in her hand. And you know what's going to happen. And as I said, I already explained my thing about the hair thing in right before the cut there. I didn't like it at first. I felt it was sort of forced. Like, really? That's the distinction. Not, she's from South Kai. She might have a different complexion, maybe. She's a little fairer skinned, bluer eyes. I don't know. Really, that's the description. A beauty with long hair. So, a beauty with short hair, no way it's her. Like, it just felt a little forced. But either way, that's what she does. She cuts her hair, and then she goes back to the gardens, and she's looking for Ho. Now, Yoon automatically finds her, grabs her. Nip, what are you doing out of bed? You're my patient, sort of idea. It's like, how did you even know it was me? It's like, I know you're my patient. I know the face of my patient, right? So that's all fine and dandy. I like Yoon in this chapter. So he basically says, after she explains what she's looking for, it's like, I'm looking for my little squirrel, blah, blah, blah. He goes, it's fine. If you just go back to bed, I will go look for it. Like, don't worry about it. I will go find your little pet. Just make sure you go back to bed. Eat your soup that I made you and get some rest. You're still very injured. And so she does, and he says, I brought water and stuff. I don't have a full bath in my, residence, so to speak, but I brought you fresh water and stuff. You will be able to bathe yourself, yada, yada, yada. There's some hilarity that ensues with the whole, do you want to scrub my back? And it's like, whatever. But yeah, so after this, though, Yoon, so she does agree to this. It's later on, probably in the evening sort of idea, because it looks like it's dark out and stuff. And Hawk shows up. Hawk shows up with Jodo. And I love this line. Now, I wanted to read this verbatim, but I don't want to slow down the video too much. But basically, he goes, oh, Hawk, you're here, sort of idea. He's like, yeah, is this a good time? He goes, oh, I was wondering what happened to a country bumpkin of a son who decided to become a foot soldier and do stupid, reckless things. Yeah, I was totally wondering that. And I love the fact, it might just be a translation thing, but I love the fact that he called him a son because, of course, he's Mother Yoon, right? Like, he's the mother hen. It's like he's their mother. He's the mother of the Happy Hungry Bunch. He's their caretaker. So the fact that he even referred to, it might just be a translation thing. It's a fan translation, of course. But I thought it suited it very well that he's irritated at the actions, of course, of his children, so to speak, because he feels like he's their mother, he's their caretaker, right? Who's your mother, right? And he always gets mad. But the fact that he called Hawk a son there, I sort of like that. And Hawk didn't skip a beat about it. It felt natural. It felt like it worked. It definitely suits their character. Now, after this point, basically, this is where Jodo sort of gets involved because, they're going house to house sort of idea. It seems like they're sort of tracing a trail here almost, and it seems like that's basically the case. That they're just going to go through all this stuff, but Hawk says, now whether this is true or not, Hawk says, well, I want to check on Yoon first. Yoon is okay with the dragons, but I want to check on Yoon. He's by himself, yada, 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 right? And pretty much, just like me switching over the lighting really quickly because, lighting issues were happening with the camera halfway through a video, in the same sense, shit was sort of going down with Yoon. Like, Jodo sort of stepped out of nowhere. He thought he was just talking to Hawk, and then bam, there's Jodo. Bam, we have lighting changes so you guys can see my pretty face. So, it happens. It's sudden. It's amazing. And Jodo shows up and basically says, no, I'm entering nonetheless. Because Yoon's just sort of like, I don't know who this woman is. I don't know if she's supposed to be here. So he's all like, no. Can we talk? Can we do this? Can we do that? And Jodo's like, no, I'm going inside. And she attacks. Boom. I thought there'd be some weird escape thing going on. But no, she just leaps out, got the sword drawn, attacks. But I mean, it's Hawk and Jodo. She might be a pretty good combatant in her own right. Apparently, she is a general of East Kai, or not East Kai, South Kai. And that's all fine and dandy, but it is the Thunder Beast. Strongest warrior in the series. And Jodo. I mean, between the two of them, really? I don't even know if she could hold her own against Jodo. I don't know. She does pretty well considering Hawk is unarmed. But here's the scene that a lot of people are apparently going to dislike. And I want to talk about this. Let's just settle down for a minute. Let's settle down with Yoon's attitude here. Let's have a drink, have something to eat, have a cup of tea, whatever you need to do. Meditate. I don't care what you need to do. Just do it before we get into the scene. Let's discuss this like proper adults. Even though some of you are not probably adults that watch these videos. That's irrelevant. I'm going to treat you like an adult because you're on my channel. So, Yoon did nothing wrong. And this is not that whole Griffith did nothing wrong. Griffith did everything wrong, okay? Griffith is evil. But Yoon did nothing wrong here. Because what ends up happening is, remember that Jodo's argument could literally be flipped onto any one of the main characters. They have all killed people. Jodo has killed somebody. Hawk has killed people. Of enemy nations, enemies, bandits, whatever. Yona literally killed a bandit leader. Boom. Remember that? She's killed people too. They've all killed people. All the dragons have killed people. Hawk and Jodo and all of these good guys have killed people. So when you flip the argument, I love what Yoon does here because he doesn't call them out though. He could. And I was expecting that. I was expecting him to say like, I also healed your wounds, Jodo. I've healed your wounds, Hawk, and stuff. What's the difference? I'm just a doctor. She's my patient. It doesn't matter. We've seen these characters in so many anime and manga, but Yoon is sort of a fresh look because he hates violence and stuff. It's sort of classic, but I just feel like it's almost a different perspective. Even though we've seen this scene or seen this sort of attitude from doctor characters that don't care about what side of the war you're on, sort of idea, what the color of your skin is, what gender you are, where you're from. We've had those characters before, but this scene just seems to be extraordinarily powerful for some reason coming from Yoon because it doesn't just bam, 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 done. It's a long, drawn-out scene for the last part of the chapter where he basically says, like, they're about to attack and blah, blah, blah. And no, Thunder Beast, stop. And so now Mae Nien knows who the Thunder Beast is. That is Hawk. And Hawk stops right away. And Jodo goes, move aside. Like, she has killed people and stuff. She needs to be, we got to take her prisoner. We got to kill her. Basically, she knows the secret. She knows this. She knows that. And Yoon's like, no. And the reason he says no is sort of like I hate violence and everything, but at the end of the day, I know that she's done terrible things. I know that, like, you're telling me this now, and I'm not gonna disbelieve you. I know that she's killed people now. I know that my actions right now, in this moment, might affect the future. She might go on to hurt other people. This might have a negative effect on my future and the people I care about's future, or somebody else's future. Somebody else might die because I'm showing her compassion. I get that. But I don't care. Because my job, I came here to this place to learn. And remember, that was the catalyst for this whole problem. The whole catalyst, one of the big things was Yoon learning medicine. Was one of the factors, one of the first factors into this whole alliance between the Happy Hungry Bunch and soo-won and the Sky Tribe. So that was one of the big factors. And he's been here and he's been studying. This is fantastic that Yoon has actually gotten, that wasn't a lie. He does have the benefits of learning leaps and bounds ahead of what he was scraping around in the dust for. And he was already a good medicine man. He was already a good cook. He was already a decent doctor. Now his level is just going boom, 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 boom. It's exponential, not linear anymore. That's great for him and great for his character. But he even says, I hate violence. I've always hated violence. And I came here to learn medicine. And she is my patient. So I can't have this. And I'm just sitting there, and Hawk, like, Joe Doe's the one, he's not, like, yelling at him or anything, but he's the one arguing with him, saying, like, look, she first off, she knows too much about our kingdom secrets, so we gotta do something there. She's also killed multiple soldiers. What about that? You don't need to show her sympathy. You don't need to show her this. So it's like, but that's irrelevant to him. That's irrelevant to Yoon. And Hawk has not said a word yet. Hawk has not said a word. Because he knows. And it's funny because in the, I believe I brought this up earlier, in the notes from this translation, somebody even went on to say, I don't know who the translator is or who wrote them, but somebody even said people are going to have a problem with Yoon's character. And that's why I wanted to bring it up here in this review, is that Yoon didn't do anything wrong because he has cooked, fed, healed, and taken care of the dragons and Hawk. They're all murderers. Hawk has killed Fire Tribe soldiers. He's killed bandits. He's killed members of different countries. She's doing the exact same thing. Hawk just went to war. He just came back from war. Remember that? So it's okay for Hawk, because he's Hawk, to go to war and kill foot soldiers. But this woman from another country, killing soldiers from another country, no, we have to kill her. It's like, well, wait a minute now. I've healed you guys before. And I know I'm going off on the same thing I did before, but I really need to hammer this home because it was strong enough that the translators and the crew, the typesetters, the cleaners and stuff, felt like they needed to add that into the ending part, into the ending notes of this chapter, to say, listen, nobody should be unhappy with Yoon's character. So some people were pretty passionate about this. So I just need to make this perfectly clear, is that it's absolutely justifiable what she's been doing. She's tried to survive. She put all her eggs, as I said, that might have been a bad idea on her part, but she put all her eggs in the soo-won basket. Soo-won didn't just like give her the basket back. He threw the basket away, and now she's got nothing. Now they want to kill her. She's survival 101. Like, she's just trying to get away now. Like, I mean, I don't blame her. They have all done this. 200 chapters of Yona, and every character, all the main characters, have been in a similar situation where they've had to kill people. Okay? They killed people to get Lily back. They killed people to get Yona back. They even threatened. They even said, even Zeno, nice, kind, happy-go-lucky 2,000-year-old Zeno, even said, like, do you want the castle back? We can take it. I mean, you know, like, and they also said that before. When they captured Yona, they said, if anything happens to the princess, we will burn down your entire country overnight. Don't test us. We are the 5 dragons. Like, you know, because, of course, the darkness dragon, OP as hell. So, I'm just, like, I'm trying to understand that. Now, I didn't go on any Reddit forums or anything about this chapter yet. I wanted to review it on my own thoughts first. But the fact that those ending notes were so strongly worded makes me believe that there will be a significant group of people who are going to disagree with Yoon's decision here and go, no, what an idiot, he's stupid, he's this, he's that. And I say he did nothing wrong. Not sarcastically like the Griffith meme, but in all honesty, he's not doing anything that he didn't already do for the same number of murderers. They're all murderers. Just depends on what side you're standing on, right? So, from Yoon's perspective, he's not doing anything wrong, and I don't think he is either. And he's explaining that. He knows that this might be a bad decision, but it could have been a bad decision to save Hawk and Yona. Could have. He didn't have to heal the Thunder Beast back in, like, chapter 10, but he did, right? Hawk was a murderer already at that point, but he healed him. He didn't know what he was about. He didn't know where he was from. So, same idea here. I got no problem with this. I wanted to bring my own level of passion to this discussion in case it does get out of hand. Now, that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. It's going to be quite long by looking at the time cards and stuff. But I did like this chapter. As I said, I'm not really sure what part of the arc we're sort of in. Is this transitional? Is this the start of a new arc? I don't know. But either way, I thought the chapter was pretty damn good. What did you guys think of the chapter? Like, comment, and subscribe as always. And don't forget to drink responsibly as always. Hope you guys had a very good Easter, however you celebrated it, how many days you had off, how family, friends, whatever you do for Easter, if you do celebrate Easter, or if you just enjoyed having the long weekend and you don't celebrate at all. You got a Friday off, fantastic, right? So hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.